Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2025 release Hell House LLC Lineage. This is a Shudder original, and it's coming to Shudder on Thursday, October 30th. So if you wanted it available for Halloween, it's going to be there. I will say up front, I have not been the biggest fan of the Hell House LLC franchise in general. I have reviewed a bunch of the films, mainly just the ones that Shudder was involved with, which has been the last few. And so just know that that's like a place I'm coming from when I'm doing this review. But I also think I have a lot of legitimate criticisms with this and legitimate good things to say about the film. So let's go ahead and get into it. This one's written and directed by Stephen Cognetti, who did the entire Hell House LLC franchise, as well as 825 Forest Road, which was his very first foray into doing a feature-length film that is not found footage. So I reviewed that one, I think it was earlier this year, actually. Not a fan of it at all. I think there are a lot of problems with it, and unfortunately, I think a lot of the problems that I saw in that film carry over to this film as well. Again, Shudder original coming Thursday, October 30th. So synopsis. I don't want to give much of a synopsis because it's literally just adding on to a story that's been going on for many, many movies. So if I give much of a synopsis, it's going to give away stuff from the other movies. And if people haven't seen those movies, it's ruining things, a whole thing. So I'm just, synopsis-wise, I'm just going to say it picks up where all the other films in the franchise have been leading to. It does introduce some new lore to the whole Hell House LLC franchise, which I think that aspect of things is going to be good for people who are into the franchise. You will enjoy that. But there are a lot of things you'll kind of have to deal with in order to get that. So that's as much as I'm going to give synopsis-wise. Getting to my notes, it is not a found footage style film. So that is a big thing that people need to know. That immediately tells me that fans of the franchise are probably, at least to some degree, going to be disappointed with this film from the jump, because I just don't really understand doing an entire franchise and then making the final film, which it has been said by Cognetti in interviews. I read an article about this film in Rue Morgue magazine like a few months ago, actually, maybe. And he was being interviewed, and he said that this is the final Hell House LLC film. Now, why would you then choose to make it not found footage when the entire franchise has been found footage? Your fan base is used to found footage. It started with found footage. It is primarily people who are drawn to that style of filmmaking. So to then switch it up and be like, hey, no, I feel like doing more of like a traditional film with this, it doesn't work. The whole story up until this point has been told in the found footage style. And there are a bunch of other things with this switch up that end up being a problem, which I'll talk about as it comes up. So that was the first big thing, is when I saw it, I'm like, this is not found footage. And it appears to me, especially with having done the 825 Forest Road film, that Cognetti's trying to get away from doing found footage and just kind of wants to dip his toes into something else, which I get it. I totally get it. You don't want to be pigeonholed, but if you're going to bring this franchise to a close, I think you should just be giving the fans what they were expecting with it and then just move on. Then you can feel free to do whatever after that. Weird choice. It's immediately clear that writing dialogue is not a strong point for Cognetti. And this is kind of one of the issues with going from a found footage film to a more scripted, like regular type film, is that with found footage, there ends up being a bunch of kind of improv dialogue a lot of the times. It's my cat, Josie, by the way. She's up and about. But they... Don't get up there. So it becomes... Josie, please get down. Sorry, I gotta get this cat off. It is literally a fold up table that I do this on. So my apologies. I will actually say that probably makes this a more entertaining interview because of the content. But yes, dialogue in found footage films a lot of times have kind of like an improv going on with them, and it it's not there, obviously, for more scripted films. So you don't get the benefit of that kind of like more natural feeling dialogue. And if you have someone writing the script who's not super strong with writing dialogue, like Cognetti is not super strong. Now, I'm not saying it's horrible. I am saying it's not super strong. And I think especially for a film like this, which is very slowly paced, it would have helped out a lot if the dialogue was better written. Just saying. That leads me to my next point, which is the pacing of this film is really, really bad. It is really bad pacing. And one of the main reasons being there are very long, every scene is laboriously long. And there are conversations that go on between characters for very long times that seem like they're going nowhere. It seems like filler, and it's even weirder to feel like there's a lot of filler in this film when it's an hour and 48 minutes with credits. Like, I understand that it would feel like that if they're trying to like stretch to like an hour and a half, but Cognetti trying to go even further and getting not too far away from 2 hours, there shouldn't be this type of filler in there. So it just doesn't make any sense. The pacing is horrible, and this movie really is a slog to get through, unfortunately. The acting is serviceable. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was all that good. It's in the middle. It's serviceable. There are moments where people are bringing some more interesting performances than in other moments. Yeah. But, it's low-budget independent horror, so I expect that type of thing. So it's kind of where I thought it would be. I will say the score is solid. The composition of the score is nice. The music is not overused, which I like that aspect of it. There are plenty of times where they kind of drop the music out and just let people kind of feel the vibes, which I like that aspect of it. So I think Cognetti kind of gets it with score. So I'm a fan of that. Plus, whoever he has making the score did a nice job with it. There are also some effective creepy moments of the film, which, if you see this, you'll be like, oh yes, this is very much in line with the other creepy moments that you would get from the other Hell House LLC films. So it's obvious that he has kind of, I wouldn't say mastered that, but does that quite well and knows how to continue it not in found footage. So I like that aspect of it. There really are some really great creepy shots. The problem is there aren't nearly enough of those to undo all the other problems. The camera work is annoying at times as they don't use a tripod when they definitely should, and it becomes distractingly shaky. This is one of the things I like to harp on a lot when I see it in films, and it's been happening a lot in low-budget independent horror films. Scenes where characters are just talking, and the camera doesn't need to move with them. Use a tripod, because the camera being shaky like this in a scene where you're just listening to people talk, very distracting. It makes it hard for people to actually pay attention to what's being said, and it looks bad. It looks really bad. Now, it's not a problem throughout the entire film. There are just these certain scenes where I just was scratching my head. Why are we doing handheld camera right now? It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Anyway, the film feels like it can't hold tension because of the very long conversations that characters end up having. It'll do this thing where like it builds this kind of like creepy atmosphere, it builds this tension that's going on, and then it just gets fizzled out with these, like I said before, laboriously long scenes. Typically ones just characters just having a conversation. It's usually two characters just having this very long conversation that doesn't go very far. The way this film ends, I don't think many people are going to be happy with this, unfortunately. They do something at the end where you're just like, oh, okay. And then you're just like, oh, well, that's it. And it would be kind of okay if they're going to do more movies, but Cognetti having said publicly that this is it, like to end the whole franchise there, doesn't feel great. It really does not feel great. So, yeah. So I've been very negative about this film, but I will say, as with all my reviews, whether they're good or bad, I hope the best for Cognetti. I hope the best for all filmmakers when I'm reviewing their films. I want to be 100% honest about what I see in a film, and I also know that there are going to be plenty of people who come after me and watch that film and say, I don't agree with you, and that's great because I do hope that these films find their audiences because low budget independent horror is very important and it's not easy. So, that said, out of 5 stars, half stars, and play, I'm going to give Hell House LLC Lineage a 1.5 star rating. It was rough to get through, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are going to find it that way as well. But this is where I'd love to hear from you, especially if you have a differing opinion. Go ahead and put it in the comments. We'll talk that out. We can do spoilers in the comments. That's totally cool. Do me a quick favor, hit subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up on the video, and hit the notification bell button. Those are your free ways to support my channel if you like any video, including this one. Sorry about the thing with my cat Josie, although it was a little bit interesting. When things like that happen, I'm just going to leave them in. It's not worth the time of me trying to edit those things out. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you do want to throw in some bucks for what I'm doing here, a small amount monthly, I have 3 tiers of memberships and you get perks for that. Link in the description. You can check that out. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep it brutal.